Good evening from PLUGHITZ Studios in Largo, Florida. I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we are here with episode 507 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, for September 2nd, 2018. This show is a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. This week, Sprint and T-Mobile are coming together. Sony is keeping PlayStation apart, and the Federal Trade Commission might be going down a familiar road. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on any of our live stream platforms, including livestream.com, Mixer, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube Live, or Facebook Live, through any of our syndication platforms, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, the Podcast Play app in the Windows Store, the myriad of other podcatchers that are available, on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus. I always forget about that one. I think everybody else does too. Or of course on our apps, plughitslive.com/apps. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways to do that. The first is on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join us by going to f5live.tv/join us. And there you can talk with us in the chat room, in the studio, through the chat room, during the broadcast. And you can give us your take on the topics as we talk about them. We always like to hear what people have to say about the news of the week. If you're not able to join us live, that is okay. You can always subscribe to this and any of our other shows by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see F5 Live and the Piltch Point, along with our special events and first looks and a number of other series as well. And with that, Avram, it's been 2 weeks. How are you doing?
All right, not too bad. On a sad, the summer is coming to an end around here.
Sure.
Not that I mean, when you work. It's like, it's not like I'm getting special vacations or something, but my son is in school and he's been home all summer and now he's going to be in school, so we can't just like go, I can't just take a day off and us go hang out or whatever like we could during the summer. So,
sure.
But time just seems to really fly. But
it does.
It's going to be an interesting fall for sure. Lots of cool new tech coming out, and lots of opportunities to do new things. So we had a really bitter, cold, snowy winter last year, and so I'm not eager to get back into it. Hopefully we don't have as bad this year, but that's neither here nor there. How have you been doing?
Not too bad. I had a lot of software projects the last couple of weeks, so that's been good. I got to actually our special events viewers will remember Tech Lolly from Collision 2018 this year. We're doing some work for Dara, which has been really fun because she was one of my favorite people from Collision this year, and so getting to work with her off the air has been just fantastic. Her business is a cool one. I really like it, and so getting to help her out's been fun. So that was this week, which was great. Cool.
Well, my son and I have been working on a lot of neat, Arduino and Raspberry Pi projects around the house. So
nice.
that's been fun. We're hoping to make it more. Every time I get a little of extra Amazon credit, I'm just ordering some other part for us to test out. Like we just got in the mail today a Raspberry Pi camera, so we can try programming a Raspberry Pi as to take video.
Very cool.
We have some ideas for long-term projects that we could actually make something interesting rather than just seeing how to do something. So we will see.
That's awesome. I've got a couple of camera-based ideas with some computer vision stuff, which is obviously I know is not what we're talking about here, but
No, I mean, we wanted to do like I'll just tell the audiences because if somebody has any ideas of the best way to do this, I'm all ears. Um, we came up we one idea that I want to do actually for my office is I want to create like a virtual like a I guess you could call it like a picture frame, but I'm going to call it a window to Scotland. My managing editor, Matt Safford, is a huge fan of Scotland.
Okay.
He goes there for several weeks every year, and when he's not there, he's watching these like streaming webcams that stream live 24/7 from like from the Scottish Highland from different locations of the Scottish Highlands. So I thought, oh, what if I could make for him like take a Raspberry Pi, make basically an appliance that you hang on the wall.
Sure.
That would have like a little dial on it, and it would just let you switch between the different webcam feeds by turning the dial.
What a cool idea.
Now the things I have to figure out for this project are one, what kind of case and what kind of screen do I want to make it something that it can hang on the wall. I've seen fairly robust Raspberry Pi, like 7-inch screens and cases. But 7 inches is a little small for this kind of thing. I would kind of like it to be at least 10. I mean, the ideal would be if it actually looked like a window and it was like as big as a window. That might be much to ask, but bigger than 7 inches would be good. And then a way of actually encasing it with a battery. And then I guess there's the software question, which is how do I make like these are web pages, yes, but I want to make it so that I want to make it so that it's kind of seamless, that it's not like you have to put in a keyboard and like go to a web page. That like it has this limited set of these webcam pages it can go to, and when you turn the dial, it just goes from one feed to another. So how do you program it so you can like use a physical dial to like go to different web addresses? That's what I gotta figure out.
Sure. Adafruit has bigger screens for the Raspberry Pi, just in case you're curious. I'm looking at a 10-inch one right now.
Yeah, I think you might not be able to do better than, but also you got to get, like I haven't seen a chassis yet for like above 7. So yeah, I mean, theoretically, a nice thing about Raspberry Pi is it uses HDMI, so you could have pretty much any screen you want.
Sure.
You could if you want to cheat, you could have a TV, but I kind of wanted something where I could actually like poke a hole and put the dial in the bezel or something, so it would really like be kind of a seamless appliance.
Boy, I wonder if you could tear apart one of the old like digital picture frames and steal its screen out. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of thing that, that one could consider doing. Anyway, we could get on the show, but if anybody has any like food for thought about how the best way to do that, I'd love to know.
For sure. Anyway, yeah. So if you guys have ideas, find us on Facebook, find the Piltch Point, and let us know what your ideas are. That'll be the best way to get us. This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're a consumer, student, small business, or developer, the Microsoft Store has products for you. Whether you're looking for a new Surface Pro, you can save $200 on that right now. You're looking for Office 365, one of the an Xbox One, like the brand new, absolutely gorgeous Xbox One X in robot white for the Fallout 76 Special Edition bundle. Or, maybe that's not what you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a Bluetooth speaker. Maybe you're looking for the Harman Kardon Invoke. Or, games for the Xbox you already have. Or a Samsung Galaxy S9. all of that is available by going to f5live.tv/Microsoft. And don't forget, students get a 10% discount with a valid email address. That's a good thing to remember right now with all the back-to-school stuff happening. So this has been rumored on and off for a number of years and was finally solidified this week. Sprint and T-Mobile are absolutely looking to merge. The merged company would be, as far as customer base, would be the second largest wireless carrier. It would displace AT&T from the number 2 spot. But it would be combining what is currently the third and fourth largest to do that. And those two kind of battle back and forth, which one's third and which one's fourth every quarter. So they're about the same size. Together, they will displace AT&T as number 2. Normally, anytime there's a merger, they have to go through an approval process. Sometimes it's quick and easy. Sometimes it's long and drawn out, like when AT&T tried to purchase T-Mobile, and can end in heartbreak for the larger of the companies, in that case AT&T. Just in the last month or so, we have seen mergers get questioned, completed mergers get questioned by the federal government, by the state of New York, over a variety of things. This one has been strange so far, and that's because obviously the Federal Trade Commission always asks for input. They're looking for customer input, competitor input, even like public interest groups. And normally in this kind of case, you see a lot of people complaining. In particular, you see consumers who say this is a bad idea. You see competitors who say this is a bad idea. Neither of those things happened this time. Consumers have been have sent in surprisingly favorable comments to the Federal Trade Commission, and AT&T and Verizon have been neutral on it, which is not what I expected.
Yes, the reaction to this has been a little odd. I guess it's because they're both smaller, but I think this is ultimately this is probably going to hurt consumers, but I guess not as badly as if AT&T had bought them. You know, T-Mobile, the two of them definitely were exerting downward price pressure on the market. Because of T-Mobile, people now have unlimited plans. Like that's the reality because of T-Mobile. So once you have only 3, now I think one of the things here is that T-Mobile is the combined company going to be T-Mobile, or is it going to be Sprint?
Fair question. I don't have an answer to that. It has gone back and forth during discussions. I don't know where they've landed. I know that Deutsche Telekom and SoftBank will both still be involved in the combined company, but I think Deutsche Telekom is going to have the primary ownership, but who knows what it's called when all is said and done, because I don't.
Well, here's what it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be called Sprint. Because Sprint has a terrible reputation. So I think that might be why the company is so, why consumers aren't so upset. Because if the combined company is more like T-Mobile than Sprint, then that's I guess a good thing, because Sprint has been just an outright, like, people have always had a lot of complaints about the service, about, it's always like the last, sort of bottom rung to get phones, although there's not too many carrier exclusives anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So, plus, Sprint.
Go ahead.
Sprint, like Verizon, is still using CDMA, I think,
For voice. Yeah.
For voice. So, it's a carrier that, frankly, I'm not surprised that Sprint would not continue. I mean, T-Mobile, having really been an innovator in this space and growing, I mean, I guess they would like the additional scale, but I don't think the Sprint brand is very well regarded at this point.
Especially,
maybe I'm wrong.
No, for sure you're not wrong, especially since Dan Hesse left. I think he was the last CEO of Sprint that was able to keep the brand together. After he left, and then SoftBank got involved because the new guy had run it into the ground, both like hardware-wise and brand-wise, customer service. It's all gone downhill since Dan left. So T-Mobile looks like it will be the new the primary brand, although they're calling it New T-Mobile. And that's the website, by the way. NewTmobile.com is where you can find out.
I hope it's better than new Coke.
Oh, for sure, right? But yeah, New T-Mobile, but it has both logos on it. So there's no... And the fave icon is the T-Mobile T and the Sprint pin drop. So both brands are still represented all across this website. So again, still not quite sure what will end up coming out of it. They may go with a completely unrelated name. Like when Charter and Bright House and Time Warner Cable all came together as Spectrum. We'll have to see.
Well, oath is taken.
Yeah, which was bad then. Anyway, but yeah, the comments, the fact that AT&T and Verizon didn't have anything negative to say about this was surprising to me.
I don't know what like they have to stand on, because both of these companies are smaller than them. I still think this is going to be a raw deal for consumers, because when you have a situation where you only have 4 major carriers and then you take one away, the incentive for T-Mobile to raise their prices, or the new company to raise their prices and make it less consumer friendly is there. Who's their low cost competitor now? So, there's a danger of, yes, there are all these small carriers like Cricket and whatever, but they're just leasing the towers.
Cricket is owned by AT&T.
Right. It's not even right to say they're all these sort of NVMOs that are actually owned by sort of off brands of the major ones, like
yep. T-Mobile owns Metro, Sprint owns Boost and Virgin, AT&T owns Cricket.
Right. Oh wow. So even less competition, because Boost, Virgin, and Metro are all going to be the same parent company as T-Mobile and Sprint now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yes, this is a real low point for competition when you've got different brands, but they're all basically owned by the same parent.
Yeah.
But
of course, the other side of it is individually, we watched what happened with T-Mobile as LTE was being deployed, and T-Mobile took a while to join the party, simply because of the cost of deploying new technology. If you've got the two companies together, they're financially more capable of bringing 5G, which everybody's trying to be the first with a big network. Together, they might have a better chance of getting there less than a year after AT&T and Verizon get there.
Yeah, and obviously that would be good for the market, more 5G proliferation. So we'll have to see.
For sure.
You know, we'll have to see how they, how they behave, and that's the kind of thing that you never can tell for sure. But the incentive for the prices to go up is there at the same time. I mean, this is probably good for Sprint customers because they'll probably get a superior network than they have now. So there's that, and superior customer service.
Although on the other hand, it could be like when Singular bought AT&T Wireless, and everybody with an old AT&T branded handset had to upgrade to a Singular branded handset. Because they were shutting down AT&T's old TDMA hardware.
Yeah, that may happen with Sprint because mean nobody really. I mean, those bands will probably get recycled or something eventually, and
possibly into the 5G deployment.
Yeah, possibly. So.
Or possibly re-auctioned. So I thought it was interesting that one of the most negative comments against the merger came from Dish Network. Which was confusing, and their only argument was that if these companies come together, they will be able to deploy. Their argument against it was that they would be able to deploy 5G faster, and that would make it more difficult for Dish Network to purchase hardware to deploy their own network.
Dish Network wants to do 5G now?
They want to do something with an IoT network, apparently. Can you imagine the manufacturers of like tower hardware, and a new carrier comes around and says, "Hey, we want to buy a bunch of hardware," and them going, "Nah, we got to sell it to T-Mobile," instead of going, "All right, so there's more demand, we'll produce more."
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a pretty lame.
It was the weirdest argument because it didn't even make any sense. It was so bizarre, but I thought it was just too funny not to mention. Anyway, obviously there's no telling when these things happen, what the outcome will be. Like Avram said, for Sprint customers, particularly in customer service the last couple of years, it's likely to make things better, although I will tell you that the whole Spectrum thing didn't make anything better there, despite the fact that Charter had better customer service. Whatever, doesn't matter. We will obviously see if the merger happens at all. The AT&T T-Mobile deal fell apart a long time ago now, and the Federal Trade Commission has been seemingly fighting pretty hard against almost any merger lately, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by Newegg. Whether you're building a new PC or upgrading an existing one, Newegg is the place to get components. From processors and video cards to cases, motherboards, and even some kind of oddball components and pieces that you wouldn't think of, like a portable air conditioner, which is one of Newegg's daily deals, which is a really cool option that they give you. You can see all the daily deals and find the components that fit your needs by going to pilchpoint.live/Newegg. So, Avram, what have you got for us this week?
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Question for the audience too. Do you like dark mode on your apps, on your phone, on your computer?
It depends on what it is and where it is. Like for Skype, the setup that you're on is on dark mode, but when I use it in my office, it's in light mode.
Yes. So, I like dark mode. I don't think I use it for everything, but there's some people who love it for everything, and I certainly like it for a lot of things. And so I wrote an article this week, which everyone can find on tomshardware.com, about 15 different ways that you can get dark mode. Well, some of them you basically can turn a switch and it'll do multiple instances of dark mode on your PC, so that you can actually, get that light text on a dark background. That's, for those who don't know, that's what dark mode is. Sometimes called dark theme or night mode. It really depends on what you're using it for, right? But anyway, so let me just show a couple of them, and let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
Okay.
To show exactly what. Okay, so one dark mode that is really, really key is the Windows 10 one. So if you go into personalize, oops, sorry, off the screen here, and to colors, I guess you can see I'm already in it. There's a choose your default app mode, light or dark. Light is the default for Windows, but I have it set to dark. That gives me all my Windows settings menus in dark mode. It also, if you are on the latest Insider build, gives you your File Explorer in dark mode. I think that will probably be in the next Windows full release as well. So that's one. One thing you got to do for dark mode.
And
another
and it's important to note that making that change will apply to lots of things. A lot of like Windows 10 like UWP apps use that setting as their default, and then you can override them. Skype, for example.
Yes, so Skype can do that. However, if your Skype doesn't have that, I believe you can. It's funny because the new Skype I have on here doesn't seem to have the same menus as when I did this, but Skype. Yes, okay. Here we go. So let me bring this over here. This is Skype, and over here it actually says choose a mode, light, dark, or Windows default. So now it's on Windows default. So if that's what you're using, this version of Skype you're using is the very latest one, which is what I have. Then it'll do it by default. But if not, you can go here and you can select it as dark mode, and that's one that you can do. Now, another thing that's really key here, of course, is Microsoft Office. So I recently, things look a little weird on my computer. It's because I'm actually on a new computer tonight. So anyway, if you go to File, Options, right, and you go to, I think it's under, no, it's not. Sorry, I'm looking wrong place. If you go to File, Account, and you go to Office Theme, you can do black as your theme, and you can see that you get Office in dark mode.
Wow.
Did you not know that?
I had no idea.
But I have a better one for you.
Okay.
This is even more helpful. Now, if you notice what's wrong with this picture. What's wrong with this picture? You're getting a nice dark mode on the menus, but you're still typing black text on a white background.
Sure.
Right? Well, here's what you can do. So if you want to change the page color for an individual one, easy enough. You go to Design tab and you give it a black color page, and it will automatically give you white text. But what fun is that? Because every time you create a new document, you're going to have to do that. So what you should do is you should go to your normal.m file, which will be located in, let me find an interesting place for it. It will be located in your C drive, users, whoever the username is, app Is it going to give me app data or let's see, app data, local app. I think it's app data roaming, Microsoft, and then Word. No, wait. Okay. Sorry about this. Is it local? Wherever your sort of template files are. I'll find it later. Anyway, if you find the normal.m file, do you know where it is by off chance?
I do not.
I have it in my article here. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, which is terrible. But there is the template file for everything in Word is called normal.m. Like, that's literally the name of it. And so if you can go to the folder that has it, you can, let's see, okay.
It says it should be in roaming Microsoft templates.
Yeah, so what's going on there?
I don't know.
Anyway, if you open that file that is in users, your ID, app data, roaming, Microsoft templates, you will find the file, and you will be able to. Now I'm determined. Roaming, Microsoft.
That is.
Templates. Oops.
That is.
It did not.
Kind of a thunderous typing there, Avram.
Yes. Okay. For some reason on this new setup, it is not in the location that it's supposed to be. So sorry about that. But when you find it, you can actually save this color in your normal.m, and then every time you create a new document, it will be a black background and white text.
Okay. And does that affect like how other people see it or how it prints, or is that entirely
it probably would affect how other people see it. So but how it prints, I tried this the other day and it will just print black on white.
Okay.
Or it should. So hopefully it's not going to take your color printer and print an entire page of black or whatever. By the way, if you're a person who misses WordPerfect 5.1, there's always this. There's always the blue background.
Wow.
And by the way, what I just changed for Office is not only for Word. So like what I just changed the theme, that'll also apply to Outlook and Excel, and all of those. So it's also true for a number of Google things. So for example, if you are in YouTube and you, let's see if I can do this right. So if you are in so let's say you are here in YouTube, right, and you want this to be dark theme, you go down here and it says dark theme on off, you switch it. Now YouTube is like this, right?
Minus that giant ad at the top.
Yeah, you can't win with that, but whatever. But the other thing I'll just mention, and there are a lot more of these in my article, is this. There is a plugin for Chrome, and it is also a plugin available for Firefox as well, that will make any web page you visit dark mode, even if it's not a dark web page. So let's say we go to my website, Tom's Hardware, where you'll see this on the homepage. I flip this switch and ta-da, everything is dark mode. Now, I don't guarantee it looks good because these pages weren't necessarily designed for this, but it will do inverse text, reverse, it'll invert the text and background color for you on every web page that you visit. So there's that. Plus, in your browser itself, you're going to want to install a dark theme. Firefox has one built in, but Chrome, you've got to look in the Chrome theme store. There's a whole page of dark themes. I'm running one right here. So, there's a lot of places you can go to get dark theme. Okay, so that's just a quick look at some of the ways that you can get dark mode on your PC, check out my article on 15 ways to get dark mode on tomshardware.com to see them all.
Fantastic. Well, I learned something today because I didn't see this article get published this week. Otherwise, I would have already known it. I did not know about the Office dark mode. That's kind of cool. And I always forget that the Twitter web client has it, which I saw on the article while I was...
A lot of different websites have it. Now,
cool.
you can use that plugin that I showed to force it on every site, but it doesn't necessarily always work well. And a lot of sites just really aren't intended to be in dark mode.
Yeah.
So I would kind of, I think that is kind of a blunt object, and I personally would not use it unless I really had to.
My brother uses it, and it seems that all it does is essentially Photoshop Control I. It just inverts all the colors to their opposites, and that does not always not make your eyes bleed.
Yeah. I mean, there are some advanced settings that you can pick certain websites that you want or not. But yeah, I mean, I would prefer but a lot of websites that you use, a lot of web tools, Gmail, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, all have built-in dark modes, or they may call it night mode.
Well, it's a feature that I've been a fan of since Windows Phone 7, and it's nice to see it coming way more mainstream. And thank you for introducing it to me in a couple of new places.
Yeah, I figured, a lot of people probably know about some of the main places, but maybe I found a couple that people haven't heard of yet.
Sure. While you were talking, I went and discovered that even Edge has an individual setting for it. So.
Oh yes, Edge has had it for a while.
Pretty cool. Well, as always, Avram, thank you. You always find the interesting stuff.
Cool.
This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by Razer. All the accessories that you need to up your game on PC and console. And right now, they've got a sale somewhere between back to school and Labor Day. They've got some deals running. If you purchase one of the Ornata Chroma keyboards, you can get a free Team Razer pin. If you buy Mamba Hyperflux and the Firefly Hyperflux, you can get a Razer ammo pack for free, and there's a bunch of other things as well. You can save on the Razer Blade Stealth laptop and a bunch of other products. And whether you're looking for a keyboard or a mouse or a laptop, a webcam, Razer really does have all of those gaming accessories, and you can find them all by going to f5live.tv/Razer. And as everybody knows, I love my Razer mouse that is sitting here on the desk with me right now. Anyway, so one topic that we've been talking about for seemingly a very long time has been the idea of cross-console play or cross-platform play. And probably the two best examples of this are Minecraft and Fortnite. Minecraft and Fortnite are available basically everywhere, and almost everybody can play together. Somebody on mobile can play against somebody on the Xbox, and invite somebody from the PC to join. The only people who can't participate in this industry-wide fun are people on PlayStation, and that is because Sony has been confusing in their message on what they do and do not want. The most recent input that we got from the company was about 2 months ago. The president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment America said, we hear it. We're looking at a lot of possibilities. You can imagine the circumstances around that affect a lot more than just one game. I'm confident we'll get to a solution which will be understood and accepted by our gaming community while at the same time supporting our business. That sounded like Sony was finally understanding that people want to be able to play PlayStation against Xbox. Obviously, if you've ever played Fortnite on a PlayStation, you know that there is something very special about the way it works over there. If you ever sign into your Fortnite account on a PlayStation, you can never sign into it on an Xbox or a Switch again. Sony locks that account, and that sucks. For anybody who has ever done it, that sucks, especially since they don't tell you ahead of time. There's not like a dialogue that says, hey, if you do this, you'll never be able to play on Xbox. But that has been a source of contention in the...
Isn't that a bigger problem now with Fortnite on mobile? Because if you own both a PlayStation and an Xbox, I don't know, maybe I'm speak out of hand here because I don't have both a PlayStation and Xbox.
Sure.
But I would think that if they're both in your home, only being able to play it on one of them would not be a great hardship for you because you just turn on the one that you need.
Yeah.
But now that it's on Android and on iOS, wouldn't you want to be able to use that account, when you're on the go?
So the good news is that this lockout only affects Xbox and Switch. It does not affect PC or mobile.
Oh, okay.
But, if you go over to a friend's house and want to sign in to your Fortnite account, too bad. So the CEO of Sony was asked about this, and in cross-platform in particular, and the answer was not nearly as positive as what we heard from Sean Layden 2 months ago. On cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4, is the best experience for users. That's our belief. So, the reason why you can't sign in on an Xbox later is we're better. Which is such a slap in the face.
Yeah. Obviously, they're trying to do this to keep exclusivity on their platform, although it doesn't really help them with these games because, you can play these games on the other platforms, so it's not like, I guess they figure we want to try to keep our community we want to try to keep our users to ourselves because if they see other people on Xbox, they might leave us for Xbox. I don't know. It's a little weird, but
isn't that more what it sounds like than we're the best, so you might as well just stay here? Doesn't it sound more like somebody who has like a self-image problem?
They're afraid of the competition.
Yeah,
they want to have lock-in. Look, every company does this to some extent.
Sure. With
some things that they do.
Absolutely.
Apple will not allow you to sideload apps.
You'll never see Halo on a Switch.
Right. You won't see Mario Kart on an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Sure.
So, everybody's got their little exclusives. I think for PlayStation, it's becoming more and more difficult to really claim exclusives because I think a lot of the really key games are across platform now.
Yeah.
So, I guess they better keep their users, keep their users close or something.
I think part of the problem is that the closed ecosystem concept has been such a part of Sony's business model for 50 plus years that it's hard for them to think other ways. Like when Sony finally gave in and added HDMI to televisions. Like, that kind of, they always wanted to have their own special thing to connect a Sony thing to a Sony thing. They never wanted to use even like industry standard things in a very Apple-y kind of a way, right? Like everybody is using either micro USB or USB-C. Apple still has their own proprietary connector. Sony has always lived on that same thing. Even when they did use standard connectors, they gave them their own personal names. It's such like part of Sony's culture that I'm not terribly surprised that it continues that way.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, I feel bad for those who are affected by this kind of short-sighted vision. I guess I think it's a weird world that we live in, that like so many console gamers actually own more than one console just so they can have certain experiences that they don't have. Like I can see the Switch, somebody owning a Switch plus an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Absolutely.
But it's hard to imagine to know why so many people I know quite a few who have both an Xbox and a PlayStation.
Me too.
I
have a 360 and a PS3, and I had them side by side. But if Sony hadn't been involved in that, I wouldn't have had the PS3.
Yeah, I have to say for me right now, my son and I use a PS3, but next time we get a console, I feel like Xbox has the edge because they do backward compatibility with their older games, whereas Sony talk about proprietary and consumer unfriendly. Every time they come out with a new console, the old games don't work with it.
Yeah, there are lots of reasons why I've stayed the direction that I have for so long now. But yeah, it does not look like the encouraging comment from 2 months ago from Sony Interactive America is going to be the prevailing wisdom in the company, as Sony themselves, the parent company, sounds like they don't have any interest in participating. And that's sad for everybody involved, because I'd sure like to be able to play against somebody on PlayStation from the Xbox, but that won't be happening anytime. And I feel bad for people who have a PlayStation and a Switch and want to be able to go mobile on not a tiny screen with Fortnite, and they can't because of this weird policy. This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live is proudly powered by Riff Tracks. Mike Nelson, Bill Corbett, and Kevin Murphy, the former stars of Mystery Science Theater 3000, are doing what they do best, creating commentary for Hollywood blockbusters and B-movie oddities like Spiker. Seriously, can't make these things up. It's like watching a movie with your funniest friends. The way it works is for a couple of dollars. You download the MP3, play it along with your DVD, Netflix, Amazon, wherever you happen to have the movie, and laugh. From time to time, they do live events. Their next one, I believe, is a little ways away. In fact, I don't know that they've got any scheduled right now. So, yeah, I don't think they have any scheduled right now, but that is okay. Right now, because it's Labor Day, Labor Day weekend, if you're watching this live or at the beginning of the week, they are running a promotion. You can save 15% on everything except Spiker, which is their newest release, and the Space Mutiny pre-order. You can save 15% with promo code WORK. And to find out all the movies that are available, the short films, you can go to f5live.tv/rifftracks with an X. For longtime viewers of the show, you will notice that promo change tonight. Trying something out. Anyway, so if there's one tech company in the world that seems to rile people up or governments up more than any other, it's got to be Google. Everybody seems to be, every government seems to be afraid of them for one reason or another. Sometimes it's for absolutely ridiculous reasons, like Spain not understanding how the news works. And then sometimes you end up with situations where Google does things that are a little shady and worry people. This week, Senator Orrin Hatch sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission on exactly that topic, recommending that the FTC reopen an investigation that was closed in 2010 into, in particular, the way Google deals with advertising, both from a publisher standpoint and a tracking standpoint. From a publisher standpoint, there are certain rules. If you use Google Ads in certain ways or on certain types of sites, you can only use Google Ads on those sites. And so he's concerned that that's anti-competitive, maybe, and that's where the FTC comes into the case, right? And then obviously this week there was an interesting report that came out that Google had been buying MasterCard purchase history and combining it with the GPS tracking that they've been doing, even if you turned off your GPS tracking, to figure out who you are, what you bought, and where you bought it. So, those types of things are what he's concerned about, and he has recommended. He hasn't said that Congress is involved in this. He has said that the FTC maybe should reopen their investigation, which they closed in 2010. This is 2018. They closed it in 2010 specifically because of the powerhouse that Apple was going to become in the advertising space, which they did not become. So that factors into his recommendation as well. I don't know. It seems like anytime a company owns as much of a particular market as Google owns both search and online advertising, it's probably a good idea to keep an eye on what they're doing at the very least.
Yes, I think that's true. You definitely want to make sure that they're, not doing anti-competitive things with not allowing people to run ads from their to use ad services from their competitors and things like that. You want to make sure that they're not, abusing what is pretty much a monopoly situation, and also sort of abusing people's privacy. Mm-hmm. Doing things like making a deal with MasterCard to track someone's purchases,
Physical purchases in real life. It's so weird.
Oh, it's good for them. It's
sure.
not good for you. It's not good for us.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not weird. It's not weird that they would want to track you.
For sure.
It's scary. Well,
it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. Well, yes, Google knows us all very well. So, yeah, I think it's right and proper for there to be some oversight of them. But I also think, I know there's also been some buzz, I think, this week about people being concerned that they don't like the was there something coming out this week about people not liking the search results because they don't like how certain political things are being ranked. I'm very wary of that inquiry, and if this inquiry is happening because of that, I think that would be bad, because I really don't think that now Google could be very influential if it wanted to portray a bias.
Sure.
But from whatever I see from Google, it really seems like what they're trying to do is use an algorithm that kind of gives you what you want or what other people have chosen, or you just use data. I really don't think that Google is trying to, you know, is trying to be partisan in any way. Uh, I, that's just my 2 cents. I think if people are saying that they're trying to be partisan, it's quite possible that they're just not happy with how the results came out. But
Could be. I
but
I tend to kind of stay back on those topics, especially, you see what they do on YouTube, and I can see how somebody might get to that belief, but I don't have any evidence of it personally. But
I don't know.
I can see how you could get there based on their YouTube policies, but I haven't seen any evidence that that's their behavior.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like in the search results, I get things from a wide. If I do news searches, I get things from a wide variety of sources, of different bents. So it just doesn't look to me like Google is, and just Google seems like kind of a company that's very, the culture of it is very technology and robotic and like, listen, let's just make a better algorithm. So it would be hard for me to believe that Google would say, hey, I really want people to have this point of view. But whatever the case, I think there absolutely has to be some oversight of them in terms of if they're doing anti-competitive things with their ad network, or I think that's really something. I think that's an important job for the FTC to look into.
Yeah, for sure. And all of his comments had to do with advertising. He referenced the European Commission and a report by the European Commission, a segment from 60 Minutes, all involving advertising, and didn't touch search in any way other than that's a big source of their revenue is the advertising within search. But yeah, search results weren't mentioned at all. I think this was probably in the making for a while. The fact that Trump went down the political conversation a day earlier. I think he was well into this into this letter when that happened, because this seems like legitimate to me. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems like a legitimate concern to me. So I think it's not a bad idea. The fact that the investigation was closed 8 years ago because of Apple becoming an advertising powerhouse. I don't even know that was something they were interested in, but whatever. Is silly, and so going back and taking a look is probably a good idea. This week's DRM not included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You get free shipping, sometimes same day, sometimes 2 hour. But what you may not know is some of the other stuff that comes along with it. Amazon Prime Music gives you a couple million tracks of music available to stream for free. I have been playing with it recently, and there is a surprising amount of stuff that you would want to listen to available in Prime Music. There's also Prime Video, which has a lot of stuff that you want to watch, including the new Jack Ryan that premiered on Friday. I have heard nothing but good things. I'm looking forward to watching it myself. And then there's a number of other features, including Twitch Prime, which gives you two cool things. One, a free subscription every month on Twitch, which you can use to subscribe to us if you would like to. You can do that by searching for PLUGHITZ Live. But you also get free games every month, just like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network accounts. You get free games every month, and you should definitely check them out. There have been some really great games available through there. And you can find out all of those benefits, plus more, and get a free 30-day trial if you don't already have one, and links to all of those benefits to make it easy to get to by going to f5live.tv/prime. So in addition to Prime Video, it looks like Amazon might be interested in creating another service, which is believed to be called FreeDive, which will be exclusive to their Fire TVs and will be a free, ad-supported video streaming platform, similar to, say, the Roku channel on Roku that has movies and TV that are free with ads. It's also similar to how Hulu started. While Hulu eventually abandoned that business model entirely, Roku over the last 12 months has doubled down on it and brought the Roku channel off of Roku. And so now you can just go to, I think, rokuchannel.roku.com, and right now you can watch, without any special hardware, that free ad-supported content. So, you know, Hulu didn't make it work. Roku has. Crackle still exists. I think that's the best we can say about Crackle, is that it still exists. But, you know, there's been some mixed reaction to it. But, you know, the company that's been the most successful with the business model is the one that started on their own hardware and then branched out, which is what Amazon's talking about doing. What do you think, Avram?
Well, I think, you know, worth them giving it a try. I think there could be some confusion about the multiple brands, but on the other hand, there's a lot of Amazon stuff out there. You know, I wonder, is it just going to be a subset of stuff that people with Prime Video have, or is it going to be a different selection? I mean, obviously they're not going to have more stuff than you have with Prime Video,
Right.
I assume, but is it going to be like a little, you know, is it going to be a little bit like this? Some of all the movies that are on FreeDive will be on Prime Video, and just some of the things from Prime Video will be on FreeDive, or is it a completely different selection?
It's a fair question. So FreeDive will be coming not Amazon branded. It will be IMDb branded, which is one of their subsidiaries. So it'll be IMDb branded, and so my guess is it'll be very focused on movies, and it is going to be extremely focused on licensed content. So seemingly nothing that's Amazon Studio produced will be available, at least not up front. And it's possible that their goal is to take advantage of the licensing deals for streaming that they already have, and you know, push it into this other service. And you know, maybe it'll just be a small subset just to test the waters, because you know, obviously they need to test the waters. Coming out of IMDb will be a little strange, I think, for a lot of people. But you know, if you're going to try something like this and you have a brand like IMDb that you own, and you don't want to kind of muddy the waters of the Amazon Prime Video, you know, launching this under somebody else, under a sub brand that most people don't know that you own, is probably a pretty great way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth trying. So, you know, it's not surprising that there are actually a lot of free, or I guess semi-free, you know, channels or vehicles that show movies and licensed content. I guess you could say movies and reruns. I mean, if you still have cable, you'll be familiar with like the FX channel, which, while they have some original content, is just filled to the brim with like fairly recent movies. Like I'm looking right now at what you can watch on FX, and they have like movies that are just a couple of years old, like The Revenant. And if you are a cable subscriber, you could watch these things right now,
Yeah.
on demand for,
Sure.
for no extra money. So,
And Turner built his brand on licensed movies.
right. So, I mean, the more vehicles for doing this, I guess the more places that you can go to watch movies that are, because if you wait long enough, every movie will come to, I don't know,
Sure.
semi-free TV, you know.
For sure.
Uh, I mean, semi-free as in, I guess in this case, you have to have a Fire Stick. But, so it's, if you're looking for something to watch, there seems to be um, a ridiculous amount of choices.
Sure.
And, but now the Roku channel, not as good as FX. I'm looking at what's on the Roku channel right now. I don't know. I mean, out of these, there might be one or two you want to watch. I don't know.
I wish the content was presented better. It's definitely like their UI is definitely designed to be interacted with from a TV remote, not from a computer.
But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if we'd want to torture anybody by making them watch like the Alex Cross movie, which is their top choice right now.
Yikes.
I mean, that I've seen it. I don't know that I would recommend someone to spend a couple hours of their life watching the Alex Cross movie.
I know
Wow.
I know that people like the Miscongeniality movies. They're both on there. There's a bunch of stand-up on there, which I was pretty excited about. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy, so I was excited about that. But it'll be interesting to see what comes to this service if it comes to fruition, because obviously right now it's all conjecture based on things heard around a water cooler, So no telling if it'll come to fruition, but the fact that they have a brand name for it is a pretty good sign that it's likely to see the light of day. We'll see. It would definitely be, if you have a Fire TV based thing, it would definitely be something worth checking out to at least see if there's content in there you care about. Like the Roku channel, it's worth checking out. There's a couple of things that were in there that I was excited to see. But then I found that NBC.com has Heroes back for streaming, so that put an end to the Roku channel for a little while.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's good. Good for. I think the hardest thing is actually these days is to find it's easy to find movies that are a few years old. It's not so easy to find classic movies to stream. Unless you're going to pay for it, individually,
or if you're looking specifically for the Criterion Collection.
But I think it's always good for the consumer. There's more choices out there that are either free or relatively free.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes if it happens. And that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. If you didn't, that is okay. You can join us live on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time by going to f5live.tv/join us. If you can't do that, you can always go to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe and see all of our shows there. And find it wherever you want on your Apple, Android, or Microsoft devices. We've got some things coming up soon. We've got Roboticon in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. I am doing a talk for an online conference called I don't remember what the name of the conference is. It's from a company called Missing Letter, which is one of the social media tools that we use here. If you're interested in finding out about that, you can go to missingletter.com. I'll be doing a talk about what it is that Avram and I do here on Sunday nights. So if you want a little bit of kind of behind the scenes information and more the business of how we've been doing this for 11 and a half years now, not Avram and I specifically, but the company, you can join us for that talk. It's free, so you can definitely check that out. Yeah, and I guess with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we will see you guys back next week. Ciao.
Yeah.